Hey everybody, welcome to Dead Reckoning TV. I'm Jay Friesen with Dr. Brian Mattson, and all this month we're going to be looking at what did Jesus do. But before we look at what did Jesus do, Brian, who is this guy?
Well, I thought you were going to ask me who's on first. You know, it's the first week of baseball season, so I'm wearing my baseball cap, you know. Twins are headed for another last place finish. What else is new? But hey, hope springs eternal. Who is this guy? Is the question on everybody's mind in the life and ministry of Jesus. The Pharisees, the Sadducees, religious leaders, Roman leaders, Herod, Pontius Pilate, the crowds that followed him, were all asking the question, who is this guy? His disciples, his own disciples, half the time are wondering, who is this guy? There's something very different about Jesus that prompts this question, and Jesus himself encourages people to ask this question because he was constantly asking people, who do you say that I am? Jesus had a consciousness of being somebody very different. You know, in our culture, people are very suspicious of the supernatural. And so they very often wonder, is Jesus really God? Did he really claim to be God? Is he God in the flesh? Does the Bible really teach that? Or is that something that people made up later and sort of wrote into the New Testament? And a lot of times when Christians get that question, they can get a little nervous because they go to their Bible and start opening it and they're looking for a particular kind of sentence, you know, one with a subject, verb, and a direct object that says, Jesus is God. Well, you know what? That's actually pretty rare. You can find it in Romans chapter 9. Paul calls Jesus God. Colossians chapter 2 has very strong statements about the deity of Jesus. But I want to suggest that looking for that kind of a sentence is really barking up the wrong tree. You don't have to have that kind of a sentence to see that very clearly Jesus claims to be God. You know, a number of years ago, one of the world-renowned rabbinic scholars, Jacob Neusner, wrote a little book called A Rabbi Talks with Jesus. And what he wanted to do is put himself kind of in the first century and imagine himself being a young Jewish, earnest Jewish man in the first century listening to Jesus. And so what he did is he went to the Gospel of Matthew and he decided not to take on the whole New Testament. He just wanted Matthew. How does Matthew present Jesus? And he wanted to try to interact with Jesus and his teaching in Matthew. And Neusner comes to a very kind of astonishing conclusion at the end of the day. He decides, I can't follow you, Jesus. I've listened to you, and I can't follow you because you are making claims to be God, and you're not God. Now, where did he get that? Where did he get that out of Matthew? Neusner realized, really reading, really listening to Jesus, that Jesus is making claims he could not make unless he were God himself. What sorts of things is he talking about? Well, here's one. Matthew chapter 5, Jesus gives a list of blessings called the Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are the peacemakers, and so forth. And then he says something really amazing at the end that our eyes kind of glaze over and we never really realize how radical it is. Jesus says, blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Okay? Rejoice and be glad, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Now, any Jewish listener at the time would have said, whoa, 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 wait a minute, Jesus. Me being insulted, me being persecuted for you, for your name and your sake, is the same thing as an Old Testament prophet being persecuted for the sake of Yahweh? Look at the comparison being made. Yahweh, prophets, Jesus, you, same. Jesus is making nothing less than a claim to be Yahweh himself. Neusner saw it. So many people don't see it. They're rifling through their New Testament looking for that sentence that says Jesus is God. Well, it's much more multifaceted than that. When you really dig into it, really listen, Jesus is making a claim to deity on almost every single page of the Gospels. So the answer to who is this guy is that Jesus is who he claimed to be. He really is God in the flesh.
Thanks so much, Brian. And next week we're going to look at why Jesus probably doesn't fit the box that you think he fits in, as we take a look this month at what did Jesus do. If you like what we're doing, please join us on Facebook, YouTube, Dailymotion, Vimeo, wherever you like to watch your videos. Share us with your friends. I am Jay Friesen. This is Dr. Brian Mattson. This is Dead Reckoning TV.